It is match day. We go again today at Ibrox. 3 o'clock kickoff, guys. As football is meant to be played, Rangers take on Motherwell. Still 2 points clear at the top. Still up there. Still looking down on Celtic. The only way to be is looking down on that lot from across this city, which we know is our city. Well, we're going to talk about, we've got a lot to get through in this video. If you go into the game today, hope you have a great game. I hope it's as good as the game was last Saturday against Hearts. Hope we bring the fireworks again of those goals. Now, we're going to talk about the team. I'm going to try and second guess Philippe Clement, which is becoming an increasingly impossible task. We'll talk about players who are out, players who are back. We'll talk about referees. We'll talk about Philippe Clement. We'll talk about a number of things. Cyril Dessers, what he had to say before the game today. So let's start off, though, by, again, talking about our manager. Now, the reason I want to talk about our manager, I found this interesting statistic, this interesting little picture. I think it was on Facebook or maybe it was on Twitter. I can't remember now where it was. But this was the statistic that I found. This is Rangers versus Celtic, league form since Philippe Clement's appointment. So this is since Clement came in. So disregarding all the games we played under Michael Beale, this is just the games played under Philippe Clement in direct comparison with those played in the same time by that lot from across the city. So you can see both of us have played 20 games. We have got 55. They have got 46. So it actually would be some 9 points clear if the games were just Philippe Clement's games, which of course does, beg the question, had Philippe Clement been here since the start of the season, where would we now be? How far ahead would we now be of that lot from across the city, given the fantastic job he's done? We're averaging 2.75 points per game. They're averaging 2.3 points per game. So again, better goals scored, even with them scoring 7 the other night. We're still ahead of them on goals scored. Since Clement took over, we've scored 50 in 20 games, which is more than 2 a game. They've scored 49. And we have only conceded 9 in the whole time that Philippe Clement has been the manager. Really solidified that defence. I think, it's not just the four at the back. Yes, Jack Butland is a phenomenal part of that. We know that the saves that he makes, like the one against Kilmarnock on Wednesday night, he makes some amazing saves. We know that Butland is just phenomenal. But it's also the work that Lundstrom does, or Diamande, or Jack, or Lawrence, or whoever's in front of the back four. It's the work the strikers do to press. It's the work that attacking three behind the striker does to press as well. It's the whole team that deserves credit for conceding only 9 goals, and they've conceded 15. So again, beating them in that category too. So not only are we scoring more goals going forward, not only are we gaining more points, we're also conceding less under this manager, which does really show how tactically astute he is, how well organised his teams are, and how motivated his teams are to play. Now, another little comparison there. This is taken from Transfer Market. Squad market value, taking the valuations from Transfer Market, which we know can be a little bit out at times. But our squad market value is 110.6 million. Theirs is 126.6 million. So even though they're worth more in terms of transfer value, in terms of their players, we are still 9 points better off than them under Philippe Clement, which is a fantastic testimony to the work this man has done since becoming Rangers manager, really putting that lot from across the city back into their box, back into the place they deserve to be, which is second in Scottish football. So, look, the game today is huge. Every game between now and the end of the season is huge. They're all huge. The next 4 league games, forgetting the Europa League against Benfica, forgetting the Cup against Hibernian for a minute, the next 4 league games are huge, massive, especially that one at the start of April at Ibrox against that lot. Motherwell at home today, Dundee away, Hibs home, Celtic home. It's got to be 12 points. It's got to be 4 wins. It's got to be that to maintain this lead and put us 5 points ahead after that Old Firm game. And like I've said, we've got to beat them. We've got to put them back in their box, firmly back in their box this time. So today, let's have a look. We're playing against Motherwell, and we're going to talk a little bit about what Philippe Clement said in the press conference, pre-game presser. We'll talk a little bit also about what Cyril Dessers had to say as well. And like I said, I'm going to try and second guess Philippe Clement in terms of his team selection. Now, looking at the overall results record between these two teams, there have been 92 games in total between Rangers and Motherwell, and I've managed to cut the draws off this. Apologies, I managed to cut the draws off. That's a bit pathetic. But in terms of just wins here, Rangers have 64 wins to Motherwell's 9, which is 73. Which, you can do the maths there, which is at 19 draws. Fir Park, let's disregard that because it's not important. But Ibrox, 46 games, 46, right? 6 wins for them, 28 in total. That's 34. So that means there has been 12 draws in the whole time we played against them. Okay, so overall, as well, we've outscored them 210 goals to 80 as well. So you can see that Rangers do very much have the upper hand over Motherwell. Now, this Motherwell team are a strange one. They really are a very, very strange team. And we look at the league table, they sit 8th in 8th position, 29 points, 3 points away from finishing from the 6th position, where obviously the split comes. So they've still obviously got aspirations to get into the top 6, to push on to be in that top 6 post-split. Their last 4 games, obviously the last game they played was a 3-1 victory over Livingston, which is no great achievement. They're bottom of the league. I've managed to cut them off as well for some unknown reason. I don't know what's going wrong today with cutting things off. Then previous to that, they lost 3-1 at home to Motherwell. Then there was a 2-0 away defeat at Hearts and a 3-3 draw away at Aberdeen. So their away record is not particularly great, is it there? Apart from obviously that win at Livingston. But like I said, we can't really take a lot into that. It's Livingston. They're not a great team. They're going down. It's just a fact, isn't it? But how good does that league table look? We're still ahead on goal difference, still 2 points clear, looking fantastic. And we have a chance today to go 5 points clear, obviously, with the fact that they don't play till tomorrow. Again, lumping more pressure onto them. And this is what we've got to do to make sure that when we do play a Saturday and they play a Sunday, is we make sure we put the pressure on, because let's face it, further down the line, they're going to have the chance to possibly go above us if it's only 2 points with us playing Sunday because of the Europa League. So then the pressure will be on us. Again, we're going to have to overcome that. And I've got no doubt with the change in mentality, with the change in how Philippe Clement has got this team playing, in how they approach games, in their belief in themselves, their belief in the team, their belief in the manager, that we can obviously overcome those challenges as they come up. Now, Cyril Dessers was put up to speak to the media today. And this is one of the key quotes that I took from what he was saying today. He said, "We are a team who can fight for it, play ugly, and we will do that. But when we get to play our game like we did against Hearts, then you can see how good we are. We have got a lot of experience and players who can read games to get a win. And we have shown that in the last week." And I think he's right with what he says there. We are a team that can seem to be able to do both. We can play ugly and win games like we did against St Mirren, like we did to some extent against St Johnstone, like we did against Killy. Not the best performances, but we scrapped, we fought, we battled. And I think, that the argument is that's how champions are made, isn't it? Champions win games where they're not playing particularly great, where they've got to scrap and fight and bite and claw for every inch. And we've done that in a couple of games and we've got the points. But like Cyril says here, we can also show the other side of our character, which is this fantastic performances like we had against Hearts last week, the 5-0. Now, there obviously will be a level of expectation today going into the game against Motherwell that we can go and do exactly what we did to Hearts to Motherwell. But, I think we've obviously got to guard against that complacency as fans, and obviously the players, I think, will be obviously doing that, because Philippe Clement will not allow them, as he has said multiple times, to allow them to get their feet off the ground. He's talked about keeping their feet on the floor one game at a time. I'm sure he is constantly reminding them of that. And I think today, again, as supporters, we've got to be patient. We've got to, if we're not 2-0 up, 3-0 up by half time, if we don't smash them like we did with Hearts, we've got to stay patient. We've got to stay behind the boys, as we've done fantastically well all season. And just stay with them, keep them going through. Now, we've already played them twice this season. Obviously, a 2-0 win at Fir Park last time out. That was Philippe Clement's match against Stuart Kettlewell. A 2-0 victory on the 24th of December with goals from Kieran Dowell and Todd Cantwell. But previous to that, obviously, the last game at Ibrox finished 1-0, a Cyril Dessers goal. That obviously was the Rabbi Matondo one that Rabbi hit, and it deflects off Dessers and goes in what was a pretty dire game. That was a Michael Beale game, wasn't it? So we have actually won both our games against them this season, which obviously is very promising. But as you can see, neither of them have been blowouts. They've been close games, the 1-0, the 2-0. You know, I realistically think that they will do what Hearts didn't do. They'll sit in, they'll low block, they'll make it as difficult as possible for us. They'll sit 10 in behind, they'll slow the game down, they'll do everything they can to spoil the game. That's what they will do today, because they know that if they come out and try and play Rangers at their own Rangers game, they're going to get their backsides handed to them, and they could get an absolute pumping the same way that Hearts did, and they're not going to want that. And Stuart Kettlewell will not want the morale of his team after that 3-1 victory over Livingston damaged. Now, Kettlewell's team last time out was there was his team. He played a 3-4-2-1. Blair Spittle, who scored the goal against Celtic. Lennon Miller, their central midfield. Now, I very much doubt that Adam Devine will be allowed to play in this game, as obviously he is at Motherwell on loan from Rangers. You know, the certainly the received knowledge is that you don't play against your parent club. Your parent club won't allow you to do that. Obviously, Liam Kelly, the keeper, also stands out, Scottish international. But one player who does stand out on the Motherwell team is Lennon Miller, young Lennon Miller, 17-year-old, who is an absolutely fantastic midfield player, who I think, you know, is someone for us to watch tomorrow. And hopefully that whoever plays in that midfield too, whether it's Lunny and Dio, Lunny and Dujon, Lunny and Ryan Jack, whoever it is, Lunny and Raskin, gets control. You can see a common theme here, by the way. Gets control over this guy and keeps him under control. Even at 17, he is a threat. And I think certainly someone, hopefully, that Rangers are looking at long term. And he could certainly be someone that we could sign, and he would definitely fit into our player trading model. Now, there was some bad news in the press conference today regarding Oscar Cortez. Now, Cortez went off on Wednesday night holding his hamstring. Obviously, at the time, there was a lot of fears as to around what happened with him. You know, what was the situation with him? How bad was it? And today in his press conference, Philippe Clement, obviously that was the first thing he was asked about and the first thing he spoke about. He was asked, how is the squad? Now, he didn't mention at all Rabbi Matondo, so whether Matondo is fit tomorrow, I don't know. I haven't personally put him in the team, and I will share my team with you very shortly. He said, Cortez will be out, not sure how long for now. We are waiting on a specialist. So it does not look good. If they're waiting to see a specialist over this injury, that cannot be a good thing. You know, otherwise, you know, the club doctors would have been able to diagnose this, the club physios, etc., etc. So look, at the end of the day, it can't be great news, can it? That they're having to see a specialist. You know, this could be a really long-term thing for Oscar Cortez, which, considering he's just joined the club, that he's playing so well, that he's a young lad who is developing so well, this is a major disappointment. And, you know, given the fact we've also got Abdallah Sima out injured as well, you know, this is a major loss on the left-hand side. You know, Sima, it can play there. It was to be done brilliantly this season. He's out until April. Now Cortez could be out long term. Matondo, he looks like he is still out. So having that, you know, that left side starts to become a little bit of an issue for Rangers. However, he did say today, Philippe Clement did say that Ryan Jack is available for selection. He will be back. He has been training this week, so he is available now. Whether he starts or not, or whether he comes off the bench, I don't know. You know, it could be that he does start, but I just think that realistically, Philippe Clement is not going to go with two so-called sitting midfielders like a Lunny and a Jack, for example, in a game at home where Motherwell are going to put 10 men behind the ball. He also said that Kemar Roof is back and available in the squad as it's in his words, normal pitch. Bit of a slight at Kilmarnock for their dodgy, horrible pitch that they have. That now it's back on a normal grass pitch at Ibrox, probably one of the best pitches in Europe. Kemar Roof is fit. Now, you can't help but feel that Kemar could still have a critical role to play this season. You know, you think back to that Betis goal, that phenomenal, the real poacher's finish. He is probably the best natural striker, the best natural finisher at this club. So for me, you know, if we can get him back, if we can get him, you know, contributing, it will be a huge fillip for Rangers. And obviously as well, if Danilo comes back, in March at some point, it also will be excellent news. Now, there was also a bit of a worry, wasn't there, about Tom Lawrence and his injury status. Philippe Clement said that Tom Lawrence is okay after midweek and is available to play. However, appeared to suggest that Tom Lawrence would not play the full 90 minutes and he would not be able to play the full 90 as they aim to seek to protect him. I think it's very much a case of the fact that they're managing his minutes. He has played a lot of football very recently, and I think they are clearly managing the minutes of Tom Lawrence and making sure that they keep him fit. Given how he's come in and he's replaced Todd Cantwell so well, his passing's been great, his shooting, the goal he got against Killy, absolutely superb. So Clement is clearly doing all he can to protect the players, and he did speak about the fact that it seemed like the medical staff were having more of a say over who he could pick and who he couldn't pick, and that he didn't need to be there, and it was down to the medical staff to pick the team, rather a tongue-in-cheek joke from the boss today. He said, we've had a lot of discussions about playing minutes of every game. There was a lot of looking at numbers along with the history of the player. We explained to the players why, as all the players want minutes. I'm always interested in data. The last match we played was in special circumstances with the weather. I see now in the data, what the effects of these minutes that the players are playing, which is really interesting to see. That he's obviously clearly evaluating fitness data, he's evaluating medical data and making sure he uses those to inform his team selections. And he clearly indicated again that he will go on rotating, and that obviously we'll see today against Motherwell. He has big confidence in the squad. Big Phil spoke as well, in glowing terms about his squad and about the confidence he has in his squad, but not just the squad that he's assembled. He said that I have confidence in this squad and the young guys who come to train with us. Every training session is now really competitive. It's really pleasing to see in 4 months together, every member of the squad has raised their level, not only physically. That I think is absolutely spot on. And he also singled out Ridvan Yilmaz for praise. And I really do hope that Ridvan starts over Borna Barisic. It was an absolute horror show on Wednesday night. He said that Ridvan has had a really big evolution. In the last couple of months, he has grown in almost every sense, which of course caused a bit of a joke and a titter around the press room, obviously with constant references to Ridvan's height. There were a lot of rumours in January, but I didn't see one in his train. I didn't see one difference in his training. He has grown on the pitch physically, mentally, and tactically. He said as well, really markedly, we need fighters, and I don't care how big they are. Clearly, with a reference to those people who raised doubts over Ridvan Yilmaz and his height. Ridvan, I echo what Philippe says, has been absolutely phenomenal. Since he's had a run of games, he just seems to get better and better. His defensive work is brilliant. He's great going forward. He scored a couple of goals. He's not afraid to take a shot on. He's been linking well with Cortez, who obviously is unfortunately out injured. So at least, having Ridvan now on the left will certainly help this team, which, does beg the question, how do we line up today? What is the lineup going to be today? And look, it's really hard to guess Philippe Clement's lineup. This is my best guess. I think a bit of some slightly out of left field option here. But I've gone for, obviously, Jack Butland in goal, picked himself. Back four, I've gone for Tav, Goldson, Suter, and Ridvan Yilmaz. I just feel going forward that we need to keep a consistent back four, that we need to keep those four guys as the back four. They are the best four defenders we've got at the club at this moment in time. They are the four that are leading us forward. He doesn't really rotate Tab. He doesn't really rotate Goldson. He's starting to not rotate Suter. So for me, why do we need to rotate Ridvan Yilmaz? Certainly, even if it's a case of giving him 60 minutes and then taking him off and giving him his rest that way, for me, Ridvan has got to start. Again, I would go with Mo Diamande and John Lundstrom in front of the back four. I think Diamande gives you that attacking option at home, will help to break down the lines, will help to break down the block, will help to prompt and probe around the box. Attacking three, Dujon Sterling for me has to start. He was brilliant against Hearts. When he came on against Kilmarnock, he was brilliant. He's just an all-round superstar. His energy, he never stops running. He gets stuck in. He can cross a ball. He goes past players. He covers in for Tav when Tav goes forward. So for me, it's got to be Dujon Sterling to start on the right. Tom Lawrence, I think, carries on his 10 role. I'd give Fabio Silva a go out on the left. With the lack of options we've got there, With the fact that Matondo's out, Cortez is out, Seema's out, I just think let's give Fabio Silva a go out there, see what he's going to do. Whether Philippe Clement will go for that, I don't know, or whether he may even play Silva as the 10 and Lawrence out wide. I don't know. Look, can play out wide. And I think obviously he will start with Dessers up front. Team up so much better when Dessers came on second half. He's scoring goals at Ibrox. He's doing well at Ibrox. So for me, Cyril Dessers starts up front. That's my match day 11. Probably will be completely wrong because, like I said, trying to second guess Philippe is virtually impossible. So, guys, let me know your 11 in the comments down below. Drop me your team. Let me know how you think we will line up today. The officials for today's game, Stuart McLean is the referee. Assistant referee 1 is Graham Stewart. Assistant referee 2 is Stephen Trainer. 4th official is Ross Hardy. VAR is Ewan Anderson, and assistant VAR is Callum Spence. Let's hope that VAR is not needed in this game, given how badly it is used in Scotland. Well, guys, that's pretty much it for today. It is obviously match day. We are hopefully going to have another good performance by Rangers and 3 more points on the road to 56. Guys, my prediction for today, I'm going to go 3-0 Rangers, with Cyril Dessers to score the first goal. So 3-0 to Rangers. Let me know your predictions in the comments down below. Obviously, if you've enjoyed the content, please smash the sub and help the channel to keep on growing as we aim to get to 6,000 subscribers as soon as is possible. And as always, on the way out, 2 things I always ask of you. Number 1, smash the sub. Smash the like even. Tired brain. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.